You're gonna videotape?
Yeah.
So let me sit down for you.
All right. All right. Can I put this on a platform or something? Cause.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So, Councilwoman Reyna, you're one of the chief sponsors of this bill, and you represent Ridgewood, Queens, and the City Council. Can you explain the importance of this bill?
This is an important bill for many reasons. This is the continuation of what was the SWAMP plan, which is the Solid Waste Management Plan. And this particular plan, upon passing what would be borough self-sufficiency goals, where each borough would process its own waste, we had the opportunity to also negotiate what would be the reductions of three particular community boards or particular communities that were overburdened disproportionately with waste processing facilities and tonnage. We're talking about Brooklyn 1, which is the North Brooklyn communities of Williamsburg, Greenpoint. We're talking about Queens 12, which is the community of Jamaica, Queens. And we're talking about South Bronx community boards 1 and 2. And in doing so, what we were able to delineate in the law is that there were supposed to be negotiations that would reduce the capacity of waste.
Go on.
And so today we have an opportunity to legislate that particular goal, because we have spent 7 years with the administration in trying to achieve those goals. As you heard in testimony here in the hearing, those particular dialogues with operators in the private market were attempted, but the negotiation as far as the administration failed to attempt to achieve what was a commitment to actual throughput, which means that you have to get through the unused capacity and then get into the used capacity. So we weren't making any progress in those dialogues. And today we have a bill that achieves that progress. We have to pass this bill. We have to make sure that we're taking everything into consideration. There was a lot of testimony here in support and opposing, and we will now follow through on what would be further conversation with the administration to making sure that this bill will be voted for before the end of this term.
So by dialogues, you mean?
The mayor's office, the Department of Sanitation, the industry, and the council representing communities to be able to achieve what would be an approval of this bill.
Can you explain the issues you had with the previous bill that you were discussing, the SWAMP bill from 2006 or 7?
The 2006 SWAMP plan, which was voted in the council.
And you were involved in that, or?
Yes, the whole council was, along with the administration.
And what was your issues with that bill, and what did you think? Obviously, it wasn't sufficient, but what were the insufficiencies with that bill?
It's not the insufficiencies to that bill. It's the opportunity to achieve what was included in that bill that have not been achieved.
Okay, how does Hurricane Sandy, because obviously we're approaching the 1-year anniversary soon, how does Hurricane Sandy, how does that factor into the issue of waste management? Because obviously there's still much to clean up after that hurricane, even though we've gone by a year. Can you explain how Hurricane Sandy factors into this whole bill?
We've asked the administration the same question as to what is the capacity that was used because of debris from Hurricane Sandy, to understand the tonnage during an emergency, unannounced, unforeseen catastrophe such as Hurricane Sandy falls under an emergency status, and the City of New York has the right to place what would be the collection of such garbage in a city park tomorrow, if that was the case. So this particular bill has no real impact on an emergency status for sanitation purposes.
Do Do you have any concerns that it will have impact on future sanitation sanitation in another, God forbid, another hurricane kind of situation or something else?
Again, the city has executive power to authorize what would be emergency needs achieved by using any city facility to dispose of garbage and host garbage, so that this bill in particular does not impact emergency status situations.
So even in emergency situations, you're okay with
The city will
location?
always have the opportunity under an emergency to host garbage wherever it sees fit and wherever it is needed. So, for instance, a park can be turned into a site for hosting garbage until further notice.
Okay. So the swamp bill. So do you think it has a chance to be passed by the Bloomberg administration?
Well, that's what we're going to continue to discuss. The administration claims it's open, but as is, they don't support the bill. And we want to make sure that if we do not come to an agreement, that they understand this will pass in the council.
Can you explain? Can you summarize what constituents in your community what they have said? Because I've heard over the day from outside before this and during this hearing, people complaining about relatives having to be buried because of various illnesses. Can you explain this impact on the?
It's the environmental correlation of cumulative uses, where you have an abundance of diesel fuel trucks and garbage being processed and other uses that contribute to air pollution. And the air pollution affects and impacts residents in the local neighborhood, where you have more of those uses than other areas. You have sicker individuals. And so the health disparities here are hand in hand with the disproportionate amount of uses that contribute to air pollution. And so due to this particular industry, as far as waste processing facilities, my community, being host of 16 facilities, bears everyone's garbage. To be able to just have it in one condensed area risks the health of everyone else, of everyone in that community, in comparison to others.
Are you concerned about any job losses within the waste management industry, as some brought up earlier?
We are always concerned about job loss. At the moment, we're talking about an excess use of permitted capacity that is still on the table. That does not represent a single job. That is just out there to grab. And so what we don't want is for a situation where another borough can say, we're not going to take garbage, we want it exported out, and we will continue to bear the grunt of 20,000 tons per day in one community board.
So basically, the goal is to even out the
That's
garbage
right.
distribution
That's
instead
right.
of cornering it. and
That's
just-
right. So we're not saying we're not responsible for our own. We're saying we've been too responsible for everyone else's.
So can this be passed before the end of this session?
Absolutely.
How do you?
I have to get going. Do you have my staff's number?
I have a staff member. I know. Remember.
You know my staff member who works on communications?
No, but okay. I have one more question.
I have to get going. I have a 3 o'clock in Queens.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.